Do you ever feel like you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders? Moments when everything feels too much, when no solution seems near, and every door appears closed? What if I told you there's a name of Allah, Ya Latif, that can bring comfort to your heart, ease to your struggles and blessings in ways you cannot even imagine? Let me ask you this. How often do we focus only on what we see, believing that our problems have no way out, forgetting that Allah works in the gentlest, most subtle ways to bring ease? Ya Latif means the most gentle, the one who takes care of you in ways so subtle, so profound, that you often don't realize it until the hardship has passed. But are we truly calling on this name with the trust and understanding it deserves? Think about the times in your life when relief came from an unexpected place. A problem you thought would break you suddenly became manageable. Help arrived when you least expected it. Who orchestrated that? It was Allah, through His attribute, Ya Latif. He cares for us in ways that we might not see immediately, but His wisdom is always working, hidden in every moment of our lives. Ya Latif isn't just a name. It's a lifeline for when you feel trapped by life's difficulties. It's a reminder that Allah's mercy and guidance are so gentle that even when you're unaware, He is softening your hardships and paving a way out for you. How many times have you whispered prayers, thinking no one heard you, yet found relief in the most subtle, unexpected ways? That's the power of Ya Latif. Today, we'll explore how this beautiful name of Allah can bring peace to your heart and ease to all matters in life. From understanding its meaning to seeing how it can transform the way we face challenges, let's take this journey together. But first, let's uncover what Ya Latif truly means and how its essence can change your life. Are you ready to dive deeper into its profound beauty? 1. Understanding the name. Ya Latif. Ya Latif carries a meaning that is both profound and comforting. It is one of Allah's beautiful names, and it translates to the most gentle, the subtle, the one whose mercy and care reach every corner of our lives, often in ways we do not see. When we say Ya Latif, we are calling on Allah's infinite wisdom and His ability to guide us, help us, and bless us in ways that go beyond our understanding. Let's take a moment to reflect. Life is full of moments where we feel lost, broken, or overwhelmed. Sometimes the challenges we face seem so vast that we can't see any way out. But Allah, through His attribute of being Al-Latif, is always working to ease our burdens. He is subtle in His ways, gentle in His care, and precise in His timing. When you call on Ya Latif, you are reminding yourself that Allah's help is always near, even if it comes in ways you can't immediately recognize. There's a story of a farmer who lived in a small village. One year, a terrible drought struck and his crops withered. He had no food to feed his family, and his neighbors were in a similar situation. Every night, the farmer would wake up in the silence of the night, raise his hands to the sky, and whisper, Ya Latif, make a way for me. Days turned into weeks, and the drought continued. But one evening, dark clouds appeared on the horizon, and rain began to fall. The farmer was overjoyed, thinking his prayers were finally answered, but the story doesn't end there. As the rain poured, the farmer noticed that the downpour was filling a hidden reservoir near his land, a source of water he hadn't known existed. That reservoir became the lifeline for his crops, sustaining them through future dry seasons. The farmer realized something powerful. Allah's help had been there all along, hidden just below the surface. Ya Latif had worked in ways he could never have anticipated. This is the essence of Ya Latif. Allah's care often works in the background, subtly weaving solutions into our lives that we may not recognize until the time is right. When you call on Him with this name, you are trusting in His gentle wisdom, knowing that even if you cannot see the solution, He is already paving the way. Ya Latif also teaches us patience. Sometimes, when we are in the midst of a trial, we feel like our prayers are unanswered. But Allah, in His infinite knowledge, knows the perfect time and the perfect way to ease our struggles. His subtleness is not a delay. It is a sign of His mercy, ensuring that what comes to you is exactly what you need when you need it. When you say, Ya Latif, let it be a moment of surrender. Let it remind you that you don't have to have all the answers, because Allah, in His gentleness, is already working for your good. These words are not just a plea for help, they are a declaration of trust. They say, Ya Allah, I know you are subtle in your ways. I may not see it now, but I trust that you are guiding me to what is best. Reflect on the moments in your life when things seemed impossible, but eventually worked out in ways you didn't expect. Maybe it was finding an opportunity when you least expected it, receiving help from a stranger, or having a door open that you didn't even know was there. These are all reflections of Allah's name, Ya Latif, gently intervening in your life. 2. Allah's gentle care in challenges life often feels like an uphill climb, with trials and challenges weighing us down. There are days when the burden seems too heavy, and we wonder if we have the strength to carry on. It's during these moments that the name Ya Latif becomes a source of comfort and strength. This beautiful name of Allah reminds us that even in our darkest hours, His gentle care is working in the background, making things easier for us, softening our trials, and guiding us toward relief. Allah's gentleness doesn't always come in the form of immediate answers or obvious solutions. Instead, it is subtle, quiet, and precise. When you call on Ya Latif, you are asking Allah to ease your hardships in ways that only He can, in ways that you may not even recognize at first. His care is like a soft breeze on a scorching day, not overpowering, but enough to cool your heart and give you the strength to take another step. Let me share a story of a woman who experienced Allah's gentle care in the most unexpected way. She was a single mother struggling to make ends meet. Her job didn't pay enough to cover all her expenses, and she often found herself worrying about how she would provide for her children. One day, as she stood in prayer, tears streaming down her face, she whispered, Ya Latif, make a way for me. I don't know how, but I trust you. Later that week, a neighbor she barely knew knocked on her door. The neighbor explained that she had been cleaning out her pantry and had extra food that she wanted to share. The mother was overwhelmed with gratitude, but the story didn't stop there. That small act of kindness led to a deeper friendship with the neighbor, who eventually helped the mother find a better job through her connections. What had seemed like a hopeless situation became manageable through Allah's gentle intervention, all because she had placed her trust in Him with the words Ya Latif. This is the beauty of Allah's care. He doesn't just solve problems, He softens them. He doesn't just provide, He provides in ways that touch your heart and remind you of His love. When you call on Ya Latif, you are asking Allah to show you His mercy in a way that is perfectly tailored to your needs. You are trusting Him to guide you gently, to remove the sharp edges of your trials, and to carry you through them with grace. Ya Latif also teaches us to look beyond what is visible. Sometimes we become so focused on our hardships that we fail to see the ways Allah is already helping us. The unexpected acts of kindness, the small moments of relief, and the inner strength to keep going. All of these are reflections of Allah's subtle care. When you say, Ya Latif, you are opening your heart to recognize these blessings and to trust that even when the path ahead seems unclear, Allah's wisdom is lighting the way. This name of Allah also brings a unique kind of peace. It reminds you that you don't have to face your challenges alone. You don't have to carry the weight of your struggles by yourself. Allah, in His gentleness, is always with you, softening what feels unbearable, giving you the strength to endure, and preparing something better for you ahead. So the next time you feel overwhelmed by a challenge, Close your eyes and call out, Ya Latif. Let these words remind you of Allah's constant care, even in the midst of hardship. Let them soothe your heart and fill you with the assurance that Allah's gentleness is always at work, even when you cannot see it. 3. Hidden blessings in difficulties. How often do we face challenges that feel unbearable, only to look back later and realize they were filled with blessings we couldn't see at the time? This is the subtle beauty of Allah's name, Ya Latif. It reminds us that even in the midst of hardship, Allah's mercy and wisdom are at work, planting seeds of ease and goodness in places we least expect. Life has a way of testing us in ways we don't understand. There are moments when we cry out, "Why me? Why now?" Yet Allah, through His attribute of Ya Latif, is orchestrating our lives with such care and precision that every trial carries a purpose, every difficulty hides a lesson, and every closed door leads to something better. The challenge is not always about removing the hardship. It's about recognizing the blessings within it and trusting that Allah's plan is always for our ultimate good. Let me share a story about a man who experienced the hidden blessings of Allah's subtle mercy. He was a young professional, working tirelessly to achieve his dreams. One day, out of nowhere, he lost his job. He felt defeated, confused, and unsure of what to do next. For weeks, he applied to different companies, facing rejection after rejection. Every night, he prayed, calling out to Allah, "Ya Latif, guide me. Show me the way." Months later, a friend mentioned a job opening at a different company, one the man hadn't considered because it was in a field he never imagined himself working in. Out of desperation, he applied, and not only did he get the job, but it turned out to be far better than the one he had lost. The pay was higher, the environment was supportive, and the opportunities for growth were endless. Looking back, he realized that losing his original job was not a setback. It was Allah's subtle way of redirecting him to something better. Ya Latif had been at work all along, gently guiding him through the storm to a brighter path. This is what Ya Latif teaches us, that Allah's mercy often works in ways we cannot see immediately. What looks like a loss is often a gain in disguise. What feels like a delay is often Allah preparing something greater for us. When you call on Ya Latif, you are asking Allah to help you see the hidden blessings in your difficulties, to open your heart to the wisdom behind His plans. Ya Latif also reminds us that Allah's mercy is gentle. Sometimes when we face trials, it's easy to think that Allah is being harsh with us. But this name reassures us that His care is never harsh. It is subtle, precise, and always for our benefit. Even in the pain, there is a softness, a kindness, and a mercy that only Allah can provide. It's like rain falling on dry soil. At first, it feels like a storm, but in time it nourishes the earth and brings it back to life. Think about your own life. Have you ever faced a moment when things didn't go the way you planned, only to realize later that it was the best thing that could have happened? Maybe it was a failed opportunity that led to something better, a delay that saved you from harm, or a hardship that made you stronger. These moments are reflections of Ya Latif, Allah's subtle mercy, working in ways you might not have understood at the time. So, when you face a difficulty, remember to call on Ya Latif. Trust that Allah is gently guiding you, even when the path feels unclear. Trust that every hardship carries a hidden blessing, every delay has a purpose, and every trial is an opportunity to grow closer to Him. Let Ya Latif remind you that Allah's care is always present, always subtle, and always full of mercy. 4. A source of peace for the heart. The heart is fragile, and life's challenges often feel like they weigh directly on it. When we are overwhelmed with worries, fears, or uncertainties, it's the heart that carries the heaviest burden. This is where calling on Ya Latif becomes a source of profound peace and comfort. These words have the power to calm an anxious heart, soothe a restless mind, and remind us that we are not alone in our struggles. Ya Latif is a name that embodies Allah's gentleness and care. It reminds us that Allah's mercy reaches us in the quietest, softest ways, even when the storms of life are raging. When you say Ya Latif, it is as if you are placing your trembling heart in Allah's hands, trusting Him to handle it with the utmost care. This name assures us that no matter how chaotic life feels, Allah is gently guiding us through it, removing obstacles and filling our hearts with the strength to endure. Let me share a story of a young man who found peace through invoking Ya Latif. He was struggling with severe anxiety, constantly worried about his future, his career, and his relationships. Every night his mind raced with questions. What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? What if everything falls apart? One evening his mother saw his distress and said to him, "When your heart feels heavy, call on Allah by saying, Ya Latif. These words are a balm for the soul. They will remind you that Allah is taking care of you in ways you cannot see." The young man began to make this part of his routine. Every time he felt overwhelmed, he would pause, close his eyes, and softly repeat, Ya Latif. At first it felt like just words, but over time he noticed something change. His heart, once filled with chaos, began to feel a sense of calm. He started to trust that Allah was handling the things he couldn't control. His anxiety didn't disappear overnight, but he found a peace he hadn't felt in years. He realized that by calling on Ya Latif, he wasn't just seeking solutions. He was seeking the presence of Allah, and that was enough to ease his heart. Ya Latif teaches us to focus on Allah's mercy rather than our fears. Anxiety often stems from trying to control everything, from worrying about things beyond our reach. But when you say, Ya Latif, you are surrendering your worries to Allah, trusting that His gentle care will guide you through. It's a reminder that no problem is too small for Allah's attention, and no heartache is too great for His mercy. This name also encourages us to slow down and reflect. In the rush of life, we often overlook the small moments of peace Allah grants us. A comforting conversation, a kind gesture, or even a moment of silence in the midst of chaos. These are all subtle gifts from Ya Latif. When you call on Him with sincerity, you begin to notice these moments more, and your heart becomes more attuned to the ways Allah is caring for you. Think about the times in your life when your heart felt heavy with worry. Maybe it was before an important decision, during a time of loss, or in the face of uncertainty. Now think about how those moments eventually passed, how you found the strength to move forward, and how things worked out in ways you didn't expect. Those were not coincidences. That was Allah, through His name, Ya Latif, easing your burdens and calming your heart. So when your heart feels restless, let Ya Latif be your refuge. Repeat it softly, let it sink into your soul, and trust that Allah's gentleness is enveloping you, even if you don't feel it right away. These words are not just a prayer, they are a reminder that Allah's care is closer to you than your own breath. 5. Strengthening trust in Allah with Ya Latif. Trusting Allah in every situation is one of the greatest forms of faith, but it's also one of the hardest. When life doesn't go as planned or challenges seem unending, it's natural to feel uncertain or even afraid. This is where the name Ya Latif becomes a source of reassurance and a reminder that Allah's subtle care is always at work, even when we cannot see it. By calling on Ya Latif, you are affirming your trust in Allah's plan, knowing that He is gently guiding you, protecting you, and providing for you in ways beyond your understanding. When you say, Ya Latif, you are acknowledging that Allah sees the full picture of your life. While you may only see the problem in front of you, He knows the solution. While you may feel lost, He knows the path that will bring you peace and success. This name reminds us that Allah's wisdom is perfect, and that His mercy is woven into every aspect of our lives, even the moments that feel difficult or painful. There's a powerful story about a man who faced a test of trust in Allah. He was a merchant who depended on his trade for his family's survival. One day, a storm destroyed his caravan, leaving him with nothing. Devastated, he spent the night in prayer, calling on Allah and repeating, "Ya Latif, Ya Latif, guide me through this trial." Days turned into weeks, and the man struggled to find a way forward. But he didn't lose hope. He continued to trust in Allah, repeating Ya Latif in every prayer. One day, while sitting in the marketplace, he overheard a traveler discussing a new trade route that had opened up. Although hesitant, the merchant decided to explore it. To his amazement, the new route turned out to be more profitable than his original one, and he soon rebuilt his business to even greater success. Looking back, the man realized that the storm, which had seemed like a disaster, was actually Allah's way of redirecting him to something better. By trusting in Ya Latif, he was able to see that Allah's subtle care had been guiding him all along. This story reflects a truth we all need to remember. Allah's mercy doesn't always come in the way we expect. Sometimes what feels like a setback is actually a redirection. Sometimes what feels like a delay is Allah preparing something greater for us. Ya Latif reminds us to trust the process, even when the outcome is unclear, because Allah's plan is always for our benefit. Trusting Allah through the name Ya Latif also brings a sense of peace. When you place your trust in Him, you let go of the need to control everything. You stop worrying about the what-ifs and start focusing on the fact that Allah is taking care of you. This doesn't mean you stop making efforts. It means you trust that your efforts are in the hands of the One who knows what's best for you. Reflect on your own life for a moment. How many times have you faced a situation that felt impossible, only to see it resolve in a way you didn't expect? Maybe it was a missed opportunity that led to something better, or a hardship that taught you valuable lessons and brought you closer to Allah. These moments are not coincidences. They are reflections of Allah's subtle mercy, His Latif, guiding you with care and precision. 6. Recognizing hidden blessings through Ya Latif. Sometimes life's greatest blessings come wrapped in challenges, and it is only with time and reflection that we begin to understand Allah's wisdom in His plans. The name Ya Latif teaches us to look beyond the surface of our struggles and recognize the hidden blessings that Allah places in our lives with subtlety and care. It reminds us that even when we don't understand His ways, Allah's mercy is always present, working for our benefit. Think of how rain nourishes the earth. At first, the storm may feel overwhelming, with dark clouds and thunder. But soon, the rain brings life to dry land, helping plants grow and refreshing the world. Similarly, Allah's mercy may feel hidden during a stormy phase of our lives, but it is always there, quietly nourishing our hearts and preparing us for something better. When you call on Ya Latif, you are asking Allah to help you see beyond the difficulty and recognize the blessings He has placed along your path. Let me share a story of a young couple who struggled with this lesson. They had been trying to start a family for years, but every attempt ended in heartbreak. They prayed endlessly, calling on Allah for ease and guidance. One evening, as they sat together in sadness, the husband turned to his wife and said, "Let's call on Allah with His name, Ya Latif. He is subtle in His mercy and wisdom. Maybe we are not seeing the blessings in this trial." They began to include Ya Latif in every prayer, asking Allah to guide them gently and help them find peace. Months later, the wife received an opportunity to mentor children at a local orphanage. Initially hesitant, she decided to give it a try. To her surprise, she felt a deep connection with the children, and they began to see her as a mother figure. The experience filled her heart with joy and purpose, and the couple realized that Allah had been answering their prayers all along, just in a way they hadn't expected. While they still hoped for a child of their own, they found immense peace and fulfillment in caring for those who needed them. Through Ya Latif, they saw that their pain had led them to a greater blessing. This story reflects a powerful truth. Allah's blessings are not always immediately visible. Sometimes, what we perceive as a delay, a failure, or even a loss is actually Allah's way of redirecting us toward something greater. When we call on Ya Latif, we are not just asking for ease. We are asking for the ability to recognize the subtle ways Allah is blessing us, even in the midst of hardship. Ya Latif also teaches us gratitude. When we acknowledge that Allah's mercy is working in the background of our lives, we begin to appreciate the small, often unnoticed blessings around us. A kind word from a stranger, an unexpected opportunity, or even the strength to face another day. These are all gifts from Allah, woven into our lives with His subtle care. By calling on Ya Latif, we train our hearts to see and be thankful for these blessings, no matter how small they may seem. Reflect on your own life. Can you think of a time when something you thought was a setback turned out to be a blessing in disguise? Perhaps it was a missed opportunity that led to something better, or a hardship that brought you closer to Allah. These moments are reminders that Allah's mercy is always present, even when we don't immediately recognize it. Ya Latif encourages us to trust that every difficulty carries a hidden blessing and that Allah's wisdom is always guiding us toward what is best. So, when you feel overwhelmed or disappointed, call on Ya Latif. Let these words open your heart to the possibility that Allah is preparing something beautiful for you, even if it's not yet clear. Trust in His subtle care and ask Him to help you see the blessings He has placed in your life. With Ya Latif on your lips and gratitude in your heart, you will find peace in knowing that Allah's mercy is always near, gently shaping your journey. 7. Resolving complex matters with Ya Latif. Life often presents us with situations that feel tangled, impossible to solve, or far beyond our capacity to handle. These challenges, whether personal, professional, or emotional, can leave us feeling stuck and powerless. In such moments, the name Ya Latif serves as a reminder that Allah's wisdom and mercy can untangle even the most intricate of problems. Through His subtle and gentle ways, He resolves matters in ways that we cannot comprehend, turning impossibilities into realities. When you call on Ya Latif, you are placing your trust in Allah's ability to guide events with precision and care. You are acknowledging that no matter how complicated a situation appears, Allah's mercy can smooth the rough edges and create pathways where none seem to exist. It's a way of surrendering your worries and trusting the one who sees the bigger picture, even when you can't. Let me share the story of a man who experienced the power of Ya Latif in resolving a complex problem. He was a businessman on the verge of financial collapse. His company, which he had worked tirelessly to build, was drowning in debt, and he couldn't see a way out. His family depended on him, and the stress was overwhelming. One night, while sitting in the quiet of his home, he remembered a lesson he had learned as a child. Whenever you feel completely helpless, call on Allah by His name, Ya Latif. With tears streaming down his face, he began to whisper, Ya Latif, Ya Latif, guide me, make a way for me when I see none. He repeated these words every day, placing his trust in Allah. Days turned into weeks, and just as he was about to give up, he received an unexpected call from an old friend. The friend, unaware of his struggles, offered him an opportunity to collaborate on a project that would provide the financial support he desperately needed. Not only did this partnership save his company, but it also opened doors to new opportunities that transformed his business for the better. Reflecting on this experience, the man realized that Allah's help had been working all along, in ways he could not see. The delays, the rejections, and even the challenges had been part of Allah's subtle plan to guide him to a solution that was far greater than he could have imagined. Ya Latif had untangled the knots of his life with gentleness and precision. This is the essence of Ya Latif. It reminds us that no matter how complicated or impossible a situation seems, Allah's mercy is always at work, paving the way for resolution. His methods are subtle and often invisible to us, but they are always effective. When you call on Him with this name, you are asking Him to intervene in your life with His infinite wisdom and to make your path smooth. Ya Latif also teaches us patience and trust in the process. Sometimes we want immediate answers or quick solutions, but Allah's timing is perfect. By calling on Ya Latif, we are reminded that the resolution to our problems may come in ways we don't expect and at a time that is best for us. It's a way of letting go of the need to control everything and trusting that Allah is gently guiding us to the best outcome. Reflect on the challenges you face in your own life. Is there a problem that feels too complicated to solve? A relationship that feels broken beyond repair? Or a decision that seems impossible to make? When you feel overwhelmed by these complexities, call on Ya Latif. Say it with sincerity, trusting that Allah's subtle mercy is already working in your favor. Let these words remind you that no problem is too great for Allah to resolve, and that His care is always present, even in the smallest details of your life. The name Ya Latif is a treasure of comfort, mercy, and hope. It is a gentle reminder that Allah's care surrounds us in every moment, even when we can't see it. Through this name, we are reminded of Allah's subtlety in His mercy, His wisdom in His timing, and His love in the ways He cares for us. Ya Latif is not just a name to call upon, it is a lifeline for the soul, a way to anchor our hearts in trust and peace, no matter what life brings. When you whisper, Ya Latif, you are calling on Allah, the one who works quietly behind the scenes, resolving your struggles, untangling your worries, and guiding you to blessings you didn't even know were waiting for you. You are reminding yourself that no problem is too great, no pain is too deep, and no heart is too broken for Allah's mercy to reach. Life is full of challenges, uncertainties, and moments of doubt, but Ya Latif teaches us to look beyond what we see and trust in the unseen wisdom of Allah. It reminds us that what we perceive as delays, difficulties, or disappointments are often Allah's way of leading us to something far greater. It assures us that every struggle carries a hidden blessing, every tear is noticed, and every prayer is heard. Reflect for a moment. How many times has Allah brought ease into your life in ways you never expected? How often has relief come from places you didn't even look for? These moments are not coincidences. They are reflections of Ya Latif, Allah's gentle mercy at work. By calling on this name, you are acknowledging His presence in your life and opening your heart to His subtle, transformative care. Let this name be a part of your daily prayers. Call on Ya Latif when your heart feels heavy, when your path feels unclear, and even when you feel content. Use it to express your trust, your hope, and your gratitude. Say it with sincerity and watch how it transforms your perspective, softens your heart, and brings peace to your soul. As we close, remember this. Ya Latif is a reminder that Allah is always near, always listening, and always working for your good. His mercy is gentle, His care is constant, and His wisdom is perfect.